Welcome to Sports Talk with Steve Jones, the daily talk show with the voice of Penn State football and men's basketball. You never know what special guest may stop on by any given day. Now here's the man of the hour, Mr. Steve Jones.
The Olympic basketball time, I didn't see the game yesterday. Yesterday was busy between this and being at basketball practice, being at football practice, having a Spikes game. So I did not see the game. But I heard they were down, 14 in the third quarter, and Serbia was playing well, and they came back, and I guess Steph Curry shot the ball well yesterday, which really helped. The Jokic, I guess, was outstanding, from what I understand, and reading up on it. And it is... it shows how much, especially against the top teams, the gap is closed. But the gap's been closed for a long time.
Absolutely.
I mean, the NBA, what the Dream Team did was they opened up all the foreign interest in the game. Yeah. Right? Which means young kids now wanted to be like Mike. Young kids wanted to play the game like Bird. They wanted to play the game like Magic. That's what they wanted. They wanted to play the game like Barkley, whatever. They wanted to play the game because they watched the Dream Team in 92, and that's what they were meant to do. They were not only meant to win the gold medal, they were meant to grow the game globally, and they did it. Well, the result is you get a game like the U.S. and Serbia. And as I pointed out on yesterday, in fact, one of the issues that NBA All-Stars have when they play these games is that they are now used to playing a 48-minute game where you have time to make comebacks. When you don't have the additional 8 minutes, there's more of a sense of urgency that sometimes they don't have. Right? You'll see in NBA games, oh, yeah, they got a big lead. All right, and they'll take some shots. You're like, why are you taking this shot? Just play your game. What are you taking that shot for? All right? Well, when it's a 40-minute game, you can't get away with that. You can't. The extra 8 minutes means, the fewer minutes that you have means something. Every possession is more valued because you have 40 minutes as opposed to 48. And it was remarkable. They came from behind, and won the game yesterday. Now they get France. So Joel Embiid will be public enemy number one.
Oh, yeah. No doubt on that one.
And then Victor Wembanyama, of course, on the other side.
Yeah. Gobert on the other side, absolutely.
Jason Tatum didn't play at all again yesterday. Okay. It's really interesting how they've been doing it. Has Halliburton played?
Not as much the games I've seen.
See, I think I've watched one game. Now, this game's Sunday, right?
This game, is it Sunday or is it Saturday? I want to say it might be tomorrow at 3:30.
Okay. Tomorrow 3:30. I should be pretty close to being home by then to watch the second half.
Let's see.
So, yeah.
Yeah, Saturday, 3:30. Yep.
Okay, that's good. That will work out. Be able to see the second half of that game. Yeah. And that's... we'll see what they do. The track's been good. I haven't watched a lot of this. I really haven't.
I've watched a little bit of the track. I watched a little bit of the swimming. I've seen some of the basketball games. There's not a lot other than that I've had the chance really to watch. I saw very little of the gymnastics. Saw a little bit of the wrestling yesterday. Unfortunately, obviously, Aaron Brooks got the other guy gets takedown. 4 seconds left. Just a heartbreaker there for him. He gets dressed for the bronze today, though. But, yeah, other than that, I've not had the chance really to see a lot of it.
Yeah. Most people consider the Paris Olympics to be, they think it's been a success. And, I mean, they've had some glitches. We all know that. Everybody's seen it. Somebody said, how come you haven't addressed the controversies? I have no idea what the controversies are. I haven't watched it that much.
Yeah, I haven't.
I haven't watched it. So it's been a little bit, like, for example, I addressed the other day NBC's incredibly poor coverage of the 100-meter dash. Like, I sit there and go, what are you people doing? Who's in charge of this? And NBC has to be thrilled. It's a time of the year where you don't get a lot of revenue anyway. And to have something that captivates everybody over, a 16-night period?
Yeah.
And the so 16 nights they've got it. Los Angeles will be the big one because the 26 Winter Olympics will be in Italy. So again, you face the time zone problem. But I give NBC credit; they've adapted. They finally have.
Sure have.
They've been putting events on live. When I watched the 100-meter dash, it was live. The basketball game tomorrow will be live.
Yep.
So they're not going to make you wait and already know the result and then watch it in prime time. So I give them credit for that. I haven't watched a second of Peacock. Don't care. The 28 Olympics though is the whole ball game, and then they don't. And the 34 Salt Lake City Olympics, they don't have the rights to yet. Because their contract, I believe, runs out with the 32 Summer Games in Brisbane. But the 28 Olympics for NBC, that's the whole ball game right there. Schedules can be put together in such a way where, okay, we're going to have the all-around gymnastics final. It is going to be tonight at 8 o'clock, 5 o'clock local time, taking place at, I don't know where they're going to hold it, Crypto.com Arena.
Probably. Yep.
Because I think basketball is going to be over at the new Clippers Arena in Inglewood.
Yep.
Right. So let's do gymnastics there, and we can schedule it in prime time, and it's live. I mean, they'll have all the control about when to put on events in prime time, where everything in prime time is live, as opposed to prime time and taped right now. They have a chance financially to clean up in 28 because of that. So, and I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will. Good news there. I know that the media had a chance to... as for Aaron Brooks, let me say this about Aaron Brooks. He's obviously playing somebody that is a great he's going up against great competition.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what I question. I know they're in great shape, but he didn't have matches that went that long when he was in college. I'm just asking. Did he maybe run out of gas a little bit at the end? Now it's a different style. It really, in some ways, a different sport. But I'm just asking. And I know he's in great shape, but again, you may be in great shape, but when you keep taking people out in 3.5 minutes, okay. And then you get into one that gets a little longer like that. Again, different style, different time. I got that. Mm-hmm. But yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's like boxing, obviously. Mike Tyson didn't hit the home run. He went 11, 12 rounds, 10 rounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Buster Douglas beat him. Vander Holyfield beat him.
Yeah.
lost a lot of fights in the end of his career that I can't even name half the guys that beat him. But,
right.
You know, those two are the big ones.
Yeah. These are all events where, you were putting money on it.
Oh. Fortunately, I have not entered that avenue at all in the world of sports. Thank goodness.
You know what I love? It's like, oh, yeah. It's really think about this for a second. And these are people that we're not talking about putting money on something, but they make predictions every week on games. How many of them, just when they're making predictions on games, have it wrong? And they're like, quote,
just exactly. Just the prediction on the game. That's a great point.
And they're the quote, the expert.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, you're guaranteed winners right here.
There you go. Right. Yeah. And you notice they never put up their records.
No. Why would they? How many times do they have their guaranteed winners where they give you two different results, too? And then, it is a guaranteed winner because one of them's going to win.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's... Fortunately, have not gone down that path at all.
I'm just saying.
I buy trading cards, and that's enough of a gamble for me.
Oh, brother. But you think about predictions made on games, which are fun to do. It's a fun exercise, please.
Especially when they're for entertainment only, where you're making the picks and you go back and you make fun of yourself. You didn't lose any money on it, but you
and then you go back and look at it and go, that's not a great record.
No. And we kept track of ours. Anytime we used to do these predictions, we kept track of ours. And then obviously they were for entertainment only, and they were fun. Well,
but you sit there and what's so interesting about it is then you got people going out there on their own that don't have any inside information at all. And they're like, I can't believe I'm losing. I can. Because none of us knows.
Well, and a lot of times the unfortunate part, gambling is no different than anything else, where you have the seasoned ones who have studied and studied and studied, and they have experience, win or lose, and then you have those that are sucked in. And I think that's, I would say, better than 50% of the population, unfortunately, that is involved with it. Yeah, they get the old, if you bet just $1, we can guarantee you $400 if, LeBron James scores a bucket.
Think so.
Suddenly, after that, it's you're addicted, and then that's the unfortunate part of it. I think for so many people, that's I think and look, the leagues themselves are a part of this problem too, whether they want to admit it or not. They have certainly taken it to another level when it comes to a lot of these things, and. I think the best thing that can happen is when guys like Kurt Warner come on and say, "Hey, if you're gonna do it, but be within your budget.
Right.
Don't do anything silly that is unfortunately would have major consequences."
Right. I also think it's dictating to a
lot of things
level commentary on either social media or message boards.
Yes, 100%.
After games.
100%.
That there are people who are bitter about a player, bitter about a coaching staff, bitter about, and I'm talking, this is pro, college, whatever it may be, and across the board in sports, because they won't say it, but they cost you money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? They didn't. They didn't cover. They won, but didn't cover.
Or a specific player was at fault.
Or they lost the game, and you'd bet on them.
You bet on them. Yep.
All right. Right. And they just lost.
Yep.
And when it's your money that's involved, it becomes exponentially more personal.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I'll hear people on talk shows now that are really bitter about something. I'm talking about callers.
Uh-huh.
And the first thing I'll think is, they must have lost money. I mean, you're really that mad over it?
Yeah. Yep.
Like, you're that mad? Like, there's a bunch of people who aren't happy, but, like, you're mad.
Yeah.
Right? Social media? Okay.
Social media I think it's the biggest platform that, as long as I've been alive, that has had a huge advantage, without a doubt, but it's also equally had that huge disadvantage.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the disadvantage part of it, without question.
Yeah. So I do wonder about that.
Yeah. I think it's
fair to wonder about
it's very
that.
fair. Very fair to wonder. I think it's very fair in a lot of ways. You hope those who are working the games are not placing a wager that is affecting how you are working the game.
Right.
Yeah, I hope, and look, I'm not saying that people are doing that. I'm saying I hope it's not happening.
I've talked about that with my broadcasting class, and I've told them, I said, you can do whatever you want with your money.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you want. Okay? I said, but my advice is don't place a wager on a game that you are working. I said it then skews pro and con your commentary, whether you're writing about it or whether you're talking about it. I said it skews how you feel about something, because now it became personal. I mean, even if you win, you're so thrilled about it that it might not be realistic what you're saying about it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's I'm just wondering what that has done to how people feel. When they put wagers down, and some of them are just small nominal wagers. Other people, as we all saw with Shohei's interpreter, gets a little more involved. And again, there was a quote that he had in the interview he did, where he said he kept falling behind, and every time he would bet more because he was trying to make up for it all at once. And that's when you've got a gigantic problem.
100%.
That you are trying to make up for it that much. Basketball practices are over for the summer. They'll reconvene in September. But basketball practices are now over. They went, 7, 8 weeks? Something like that, whatever the number you're allowed to do. And I will say this about them. This is a much better basketball team than 1 year ago today. And they're a better basketball team than they were in June when they started. Freshmen that may have had their head on a swivel in the first couple of weeks now are settling in and understanding concepts. Transfers coming in now understand concepts. And by the way, one quick note for everybody. Tomorrow is commencement. That's what happens when you go through take classes and you get a degree.
That
Jason.
does happen. Yep. I have one.
What?
Well, if you count high school, I have two. So you have the high school and the college.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about the ones you bought. What about?
No. Oh, well, in that case.
Hey, who's getting his degree tomorrow? Ace Baldwin. So for anybody who's questioning in this NIL era, it's all about the money. It's not about school and so forth. It's all about money. It's all about money. It's all about money. Now, are there some individuals where it's all about the money? Yep. No question. But the vast majority care about getting the degree. Ace is getting his degree tomorrow. And yet, at the end of practice, I went over and said, "Hey, look, I'm proud of you. That's incredible."
Absolutely.
And that shows you something. Micah Parsons graduated in 2.5 years. Saquon got back. He got his degree.
Came back. I remember.
Yep, he got his degree. Well, Ace is getting his degree tomorrow. And I think they're going to be there may have been a segment of the population that thought, well, he's just here to play basketball. He's just here for the NIL. No, he went to class. He got his degree. He's going to tomorrow. Because, he had one last Spanish 3 course, passed it, he's all set.
Yep. And, you look at these, and it's almost, and again, I think it is true. There are a couple of people that are all about the money, absolutely. But I think it's almost...
No question.
I don't want to say it's ignorance, but it's pretty close to it for people to look at somebody, at a whole population and say that. You look even basketball. Shaquille O'Neal was a 2-3-time champion before he got it. Came back and got his degree. These guys absolutely value the education, and when you see the emotion too of these athletes, you see the tears. That's not all about money. There is no question.
Right.
That is absolutely not an athlete that is only passionate about money only. Money comes and goes. The chance to obviously have that degree, the chance to be successful in not only on the court or on the field or on the floor, but also in life. You can't duplicate that. You can't really at all replicate it in any other way.
Yeah, it's and there'll be football players, by the way, getting their degrees tomorrow as well. It's one of the reasons why practice was supposed to be earlier tomorrow. They pushed it back, and the reason they pushed it back was so they can go through commencement. And so that's the reason why for that. I know that yesterday the media did get a look at what was going on at practice. It was, James talked a little bit about it afterward, about where they are right now. I mean, they're really heading into a big period at this moment. Because I think this is going to be the time in the next week or so. Let's say in the next week, maybe a little bit more than that, to determine 1s, 2s, and 3s, travel versus development, and where you are. There's no question there are certain people that are off to really good starts, and let's see if that continues, because it could help. No question it could help. Then there's your team. Did the 49ers play this weekend?
Yeah, Tennessee, I think, on Saturday.
Anybody of any value of your team going to play? Or
I know McCaffrey's not playing the whole preseason. He's nursing a calf injury, but other than that, I don't think game one you're not going to see too many. I think you might see a couple starters out there, but not really anymore. Obviously Trent Williams is holding out. Ayuk, who knows? So there's 2 right there that aren't going to play.
How long does Trent Williams hold out? Because, to you, he's like the whole ball game.
I'll tell you, he's the whole ball game in that offensive line. I don't think there's any doubt. I mean, it's as much as they have paid a lot of other guys, it's going to be interesting to see what does happen with him. They converted his signing bonus when they restructured, and it ultimately, I think, came to less money now at this point. So he's holding out. He's holding out for the extension or the bigger payday. And look, he's earned it. I don't think there's any doubt about it. He's been that not only the anchor of that offensive line, he's been that offensive line. And the 49ers have had a lot of issues on that line, and one of them is not Trent Williams. I think when you're rating the top 5 most valuable guys to that team, obviously McCaffrey and Purdy are 1 and 2, I would think. Trent Williams has got to be in the conversation between 3 and 5.
Yeah, I'm no longer big on ranking guys 1 through 10, 1 through 5.
No, in terms of best player in the game, no. But valuable to your team, I would say they're.
I mean, you can talk about guys. Yeah. I don't even put numbers on. Like, who's the most important Penn State player? Oh, for God's sakes.
Everybody, because they need to play. Produce.
Guess what? You can have the best quarterback out there, and you got a corner that stinks, and that they sit down and go, "Hey, look, check it out. Where's Waldo?" Right?
Spencer Burford was the most important player in the Super Bowl for missing that block on Chris Jones. So there's no. It's not necessarily, and I agree with you.
You appear to be a little bitter.
Well, never. But
I'm a little concerned. You are a little bitter right now.
Always bitter. But I think it's. I agree with you. I think it is a spot really where.
Oh no, I'm not criticizing you. Right? No, I'm just saying I can't do it.
Everybody has value to the team. Is my point. Look, if you could say in 2000, and we're just talking about 49ers, 2011, 2012. I wouldn't have put Kyle Williams as one of the top 5 if I'm rating a number, but he was the most valuable in that NFC Championship game when he lost the football twice. That's absolutely. It's not to me. Everybody is valuable to the team and has to do their job. There's no question.
Like I said, you can have a quarterback. Oh, he's unbelievable. He's the best player in the game. And you're like, well, how come they're not undefeated? Well, the corner really stinks. Sorry. That's an issue. Like, in other words, they just kept throwing at him, and they have nobody that's better. Okay, that's not good. All right. So, in other words, you're telling me we need a better corner. Yeah, I do. Right. We're okay at quarterback, but so yeah, we've got the best player. Well, it always helps when you do have the best player.
Absolutely,
it always helps,
and it helps to have that best player that's been in that spot before too. Yeah, Mahomes has been in that spot multiple times. He took advantage of it last 2 Super Bowls.
Helps when you have the best player, but you have to have a full team.
Oh, no doubt.
And it's one thing about football. Football is a sport where you really. I remember I'd see them run stuff in practice, and I was talking with Joe about this one day. And I said, what's the key to determining whether you want to use something? He says, Steve, if I got one guy who can't run it, I can't use it. Right? He said, if we keep seeing over and over again in practice that there's a guy that can't handle it, he says it's not worth putting in.
Yeah. That sticks out especially, sticks out in football too, but sticks out in basketball when you're running a specific offense. I mean, and one guy can't do it, forget about it.
Yeah. So that's yeah. I mean that's something that's like you can't overlook that stuff. You just can't. What it means to win at every position, and I think that Joe said. He said, "I can't run it because one guy can't do it." Well, what does difference one guy make? Like, makes a big difference.
Ask Steve Young that question when Lawrence Phillips missed the blitz on Aeneas Williams. How much that one guy makes a difference.
You really are a bitter individual. I mean,
well, I'm using examples of my team. There's probably, I guarantee you, those listening right now has plenty of examples of their team where, hey, here's what happened and here's why.
I feel like I have to talk you off the ledge every show. Every time I turn around, you are like you're upset about something from the past that you can't control.
All right, well, ask the 2016 Cleveland Cavaliers in Game 1 if J.R. Smith knew what he was doing on that rebound at the end of the game. It's again, one guy. Everybody has to be together, and that's where if you're not on the same page, that happens, and ultimately could cost you the game. Did it cost them the game? Who knows? Who knows what they would have done if they score or they don't score there? But he grabs the ball in a tie game. He grabs the ball in a tie game and runs around with it when he had the chance to put a final shot up. It's all of these things.
I just.
Now that being said, the coach has to.
Bitter.
The coach has to put the players in position to win.
I mean,
I will say that.
All the complaints I get about your bitterness.
I know. It's terrible. Or you get the few that say, yeah, I can relate. Usually Philadelphia sports fans.
Man, I was shocked you were at the game the other day and there was no bobblehead.
There was no bobblehead. Yeah, I had the chance finally to, always enjoy getting over there to watch the Spikes.
Yeah, but there's no bobblehead.
That's all right. It's always a good time to go out there. It's one of the best things that came to the center region.
It changed the summers around here forever.
Changed the summers around here forever. Gave us something very exciting. I always enjoy going over there and catching a game.
We're finally getting to the end of the rain here. Yeah.
Probably until 6 o'clock or so, or 5 o'clock?
Tonight?
Yeah.
I think it's supposed to be a beautiful weekend.
Yeah, beautiful weekend, but I think it's supposed to rain a little bit yet today, right?
A little bit more.
Yeah.
Not much, because
nice.
To quote Caddyshack, I think the heavy stuff's finally behind. Yeah.
Never saw a hook on a golf shot like that one.
A hook on a golf shot?
Never saw the woof, coming back to the hole there.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I know. I never have.
Never saw the break like that. The break, I should say. That's easier. That's more when it comes to putting.
Yeah, what are you doing? What are you talking about? Man, you're scary.
It's like what was the movie? Had Adam Sandler and Jon Stewart. Was it Big Daddy? I remember the roof breaks to the right when he's putting on the roof.
Oh no! I was out playing Ventana Canyon in Tucson, and I'd played the course I think 2 or 3 times before that. So I loved the course. I played it a few times, and the last time we played, I think it's the 4th time I played it. I said, hey, the pro was in the shop. He says, hey, you want some advice? It says a little local knowledge. I says, sure, I'll take anything you can give me. He says, no matter what you see for a putt, everything breaks away from the mountains. Now, Ventana Canyon, like Tucson's in the valley. Ventana Canyon is up in the mountain area, overlooking the city. All right. And it's like, so everything breaks away from the mountain. He says, no matter what you see. Okay. I don't know. We get to, the 5th hole, 6th hole, whatever it is. The mountain's over here on the left. I've got a putt on the green for birdie that is unquestionably right to left. So I'm playing with golf with Dave Baker. I said, Bakes. He said everything breaks away from the mountain. I said, look at this putt. He goes, yeah, I know. I said, to me, this putt's right to left. I said, like, bring it out like maybe a foot, maybe a little bit more than that, and then bring it back. I said, you know what? I said, just for the heck of it, I said, this is his track. I said, I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to play it left or right exactly like he said with the mountain. And son of a gun, that thing went in the hole. I was like, you got to kidding me. I birdied the hole. I'm like going, what? I said, I looked at it, when it went in, I said, Dave, that's great, but there's no way in heck that putt should have done that.
Oh, man.
But Nobody knew. It's just like when you play a Nicholas course. When you play a Nicholas course, okay, when there's water around it, on Nicholas courses, no matter what the putt looks like, the break is toward the water. Right? Because obviously he wants, when it rains like today, he wants the water funneling where? Toward the creek, toward the pond, whatever it happens to be. Mm-hmm. And I had the same thing. I'm like, it was on the front nine. And this court, this hole was a son of a gun. And I had to come out of a bunker. I come out of the bunker. There's no doubt that the putt's right to left. But guess what's on the right? The creek. It's like, all right, we'll try it his way. Saved one. It's like, okay. It's like I played golf the other day with Bill Purdy. Bill Purdy is great at reading putts. I always say, Bill, what do you think about this one? It's like, okay. It's a course I only play once a year. So it's like, yeah, Bill, what do you think of this one? Okay. Perfect. Yeah, we always go with local knowledge.
Yeah. Anybody that's played the course. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, so now the question is, I'm listening to your broadcast. What knowledge do you go with? No, just kidding. I'm kidding.
I do the just wing it.
Everybody, I'm kidding. Jeez.
Just wing it. It'll produce results. But
so what is State High going to do? What's the practice regimen like for them right now? Because they've started.
Yeah, they've started.
Right?
Yep.
So they'll have a scrimmage, right?
Yeah, they'll have one scrimmage. Yep.
And when's that going to be?
Should be the week before. Should be the 16th.
So next weekend.
So, yeah, it should be next weekend, and then 23rd.
Then they start the 23rd?
Yeah, open at Gateway, yep, on the road.
All right. Yep. Gateway.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to go down to Pittsburgh.
In Monroeville, yep.
Wow.
Yep. Thankfully, that side of Pittsburgh, so you get shave off about a half hour at least.
You have never traveled with Tom Bradley or Dick Girardi from the airport?
No.
Have you?
No.
It doesn't matter.
No.
When they go, they move.
Oh, well, yeah. It's tough to move sometimes going on that 22.
Oh, no,
for me it is.
No.
For me it is.
No.
But,
believe me, it's fly, drive. No, it's kind of the same.
I've had a lot of residents of the Philadelphia area. Now I grew up 90 miles from Philly, but those who lived in the city itself, I've gotten to games. I have, we've obviously, the world of radio. For those listening, sometimes you're left behind in the studio because you're shorthanded.
Yeah,
and hour before game time, I'm thinking, well, I'll be a little late getting to this game. No.
Yeah.
Somehow, some way, completely maneuvered around. And I don't know if they were driving or they were using the force, but literally got me there, no problem. I'm thinking, my goodness, not a route I would have taken, not a speed I would have gone, but we're here.
Yeah. Back to graduation for a moment. 23 Penn State athletes will graduate tomorrow. Among them graduating tomorrow, I mentioned Ace Baldwin. Aaron Brooks gets his degree tomorrow.
Right.
Carter Storaci gets his degree tomorrow.
Carter coming back for year 5. Could be the only.
And
time.
Right. And Julie Goff from women's hockey, who's the sportsmanship honoree, is going to get her degree tomorrow from women's ice hockey. So Carter Storaci and Aaron Brooks both get their degrees tomorrow. And Ace Baldwin gets his degree tomorrow. So congratulations to them. Again, it means something. So now back, if you don't mind, back to high school football. So the schedule is Gateway to start. Okay? So after Gateway, what does it look like after that?
Schedule-wise for them, it's going to be interesting this year because they start 4 of 5 on the road.
Ooh.
So that's where, they have.
So it's really the opposite of what Penn State football has.
Completely the opposite. They have that game on the 23rd with Gateway. They have the game at home on the 30th, and then The 7th, you're at Harrisburg.
So the 30th, they play who?
I believe it's Altoona on the 30th. Yep, and then the 7th.
Here. Okay.
Yeah, it's here. Yep, and the 7th is you're playing. I believe you by. I want to say they're Harrisburg and Cumberland Valley back to back there.
Okay.
So the 7th, you play Harrisburg on a Saturday over at Severance Field, Harrisburg. That's going to be first Penn State game, same day.
Right.
That'll be the big one, obviously. Harrisburg's going to be probably the favorite again in the Mid-Penn, I think, as you go into it. And then, they have the game. I think it's TV on the 13th. And what a job Cumberland Valley's done, by the way, with that facility. They have responded in a big way with hosting the state playoffs, hosting the state championship. They've responded with the upgrades. They've done an incredible job with that facility. And press box has to be. They're working on it though. That's the one area where I think they got a lot of complaints first year, but I think they've done a great job there. Then you have Chambersburg right after that. Okay. Then 4 or 5 on the road are done at least. That's the bright side of it.
Okay.
So down the stretch you're going to have those, but it's going to be an interesting.
So then
season.
After that, what? 4 of the last 5 will be at home.
4 of the last 5 at home. You have the other interesting part of it. You start with Gateway. You don't have those other throw-in games like you used to have, where you're playing Williamsport, or you're playing Hollidaysburg. You're going right into conference play week 2 because you're adding teams this year. You're playing Cedar Cliff at home. You're playing, you get that.
Cedar Cliff's the team they always played anyway.
Yeah, they played them. Yep.
Then they didn't play them, and now they're back. Back in the 80s when I did state high football, they played Cedar Cliff every year.
Yeah, I made how many trips down there? Absolutely. And the one that's back on the schedule that I'm very excited for is that last game at Memorial Field. It's Bishop McDevitt back on the schedule, which I think is always going to be exciting. State College of McDevitt had some classics.
Is that November 1?
No, that's October. That's
So the season ends in October?
Regular season ends in October. I believe if it plays out well.
Because of the playoffs, it has to end that early?
Well, they moved it up because of state championships for many years.
So you're talking about October 25th is the last
the last game. Yep, last regular season game. And then and a big reason for that was they screwed up so many years prior to that, and not state high, we're talking Pennsylvania high school football, and they'd be the first to admit it, where they just played too long. They had the state championships for the Saturday before Christmas.
Yeah,
you're not going to draw a crowd. Not only that, you get the snowstorms, which you had when State High was there. Played LaSalle in the state title game, and there was 6 inches of snow coming down. So I think that's the other part of it, that they moved it up. But that's October 25th will be the last game. Typically, if the Cards play right for State College, they'll get that bye week. And it comes at a perfect time this year because obviously Ohio State's that game on November 2nd here. So there's the chance State High doesn't play that Friday night. So the families can enjoy what will be a big weekend. So that will be your reward if you're able to get that top seed again in the district and have that district championship the following week.
Okay.
But that's high school football. It starts obviously a week earlier.
So let's go back to the Wayback Machine.
Yeah.
To nearly 50 years ago. 49 years ago. I'm playing high school football. Right.
I did not play high school football. That's one sport I did not. My career ended in junior high in football.
So this is my senior year.
Yeah.
So 1970, 75, 76. So it's the 75, all 75. And we always ended our season. We didn't have playoffs in Connecticut at the time. At that time, now they do, of course. And we always ended on Thanksgiving Day. We actually had 2 high schools in our town. So the, quote, crosstown rivals would play each other on Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah, and they have that here, too. I think it's Easton and Phillipsburg, I think, plays. Not Phillipsburg, Osceola, not here. Phillipsburg, New Jersey. Yes, where they play each other. Thanksgiving Day, I believe they still do.
And again, there were no playoffs. And I remember my junior year playing, which was 50 years ago. So junior year, 50 years ago, playing in this game. And the week leading in was so cold. And I remember we practiced a couple of days outside in sneakers because they wanted to see if sneakers were better than cleats because the ground was so frozen. And then I remember during the game, some guys did start with it, but by halftime, everybody switched over to cleats. But the field was just, it was like a rock.
Really?
But it was Thanksgiving Day. Now the next year they had some rain. The next year the field was softer. It was at their place, dump.
That's how.
I'm joking. That was actually of the two schools. That was the newer school. The other one.
Really?
Right now today, guess what? They consolidated it into what was my school. Actually, the newer school they didn't keep.
Yeah.
They renovated the old one. Like, okay, not my money.
And what is likely one of the more unpopular opinions for Pennsylvania high school football for me, I was never a fan of the Rock, the McDevitt's old field. I was never a fan. I the grass was. It's kind of like where all the great coaches will try hard not to cut the grass so it gets a little higher, but right. Obviously that grass was absolutely high. There's so many games there.
That was one of the problems to me in the Big Ten.
Yeah. Yep.
In the Big Ten, Ohio State's grass was so high. Mm-hmm. Like I said to somebody, I said, do you guys own a mower?
Yeah, literally.
And Michigan was lousy at it.
Yep.
Iowa was lousy at it. Like they had grass fields and they were lousy at taking care of them. I was baffled by it. Michigan State went to a grass field. Their grass field's great.
Yep.
And in fact, former Penn State offensive tackle Jason Henderson was in turf management, and he was one of the guys that helped put that field in up there.
Nice.
He did it. But I was amazed in the Big Ten. Purdue does a good job with theirs.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, Purdue does, and I'll say that Northwestern went from AstroTurf to grass.
Not been to Northwestern in almost
field,
20 years.
Northwestern's field, now,
it's obviously a new field.
I mean, they're going to have to put a new one in it. It's a construction site now. They're going to play on AstroTurf for the next 2 years. But Penn State doesn't go there till 26. But the grass field they added in Northwestern was excellent. I think Purdue's is excellent.
Yeah.
Michigan State's excellent. Iowa, Michigan, and Ohio State, for whatever reason, their grass fields were lousy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they ended up going to field turf, because they knew they couldn't take care of it.
Yep. Yeah, the horseshoe especially. And that was one where...
And I don't know if it's sun.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's... I mean, there's a lot of factors going on. They're lousy at taking care of it. Okay, take the fourth green at the Penn State Blue Course. So that par 3, you know how many trees they had to clear out because they had trouble with that green over and over and over and over and over again because of the mixture of rain, sun, whatever they needed to do. They had trouble with that green forever. So sometimes you just have a bad spot and it doesn't work. And for all we know, at Ohio State, Michigan, Iowa, they had bad spots and it didn't work. I don't know.
But I remember going back to, first of all, 93 it snowed. I'll give them that in Columbus, but that was where
it was a mud bowl.
Yeah, it was just an awful, awful sloppy field. And then 96, same thing. Those two games to me absolutely stuck out when they played Ohio State. How bad that field was.
Yeah.
Now that's obviously not an excuse, but they both had to play on it. But it's still just absolutely for a school that caliber, you got to be better in that spot.
Right. Yeah, I think ESPN just put out their quarterly profits. ESPN Plus.
I was going to say ESPN Plus has been doing well.
Saw a profit of $66 million.
Yeah, and that price is going to be going up. Price increases.
So because of that, Disney saw a profit in streaming of $47 million, which means the other Disney stuff lost $19 million. Right?
Yeah.
That's what it means. But remember, when you see something like that, hey, they can give the ACC more money. Nope.
No.
Okay, they're going to be paying. What are they paying now per year? $2.8 billion.
It's close to $3 billion, I think. Yeah.
Well, no, I think they're going $2.8 billion to the NFL.
Yep.
And $2.7 to the NBA.
They're in the billions for the NBA. They're in the $2 billion because that was where
I think it's $2.7 billion for the NBA because it's slightly less than the NFL deal. But remember, the NFL deal includes rights to all the highlights. Which is about 400 to 500 million of it.
Absolutely.
But that's why people are like, you get tapped out on money. And I don't care what corporation you are, you're paying for rights. Now, I realize the NBA deal is an 11-year deal. Mm-hmm. The NFL deal, they're in the middle now of a 10-year deal. So these are long-term deals. Yeah. And the Big Ten still has 6 years to go on its TV
absolutely.
deal.
Yeah,
and the SEC is longer.
Oh, yeah.
The SEC goes to, I think, 34?
I was going to say it just went in.
Did they go 2034?
I think it's around there,
Right. So
it was a 10-year, so it'd be 23,
so they have that stuff built in already. Do you ever watch ESPN's Friday night high school football game?
Typically not, because obviously I'm busy with State High, and then I'm getting ready for.
Listen to the broadcast. You're not paying attention. I was just asking.
Not paying thorough attention at all. But usually busy with State High, and then obviously getting ready for. Preparation's already done for Saturday, but getting ready to get into here. And
I didn't know if maybe there was an occasion you get home from a game and it's home. And
there's the occasion, but it's not. It's been a little bit. I think it's. It's probably, I did not watch any last year. I usually do watch the ones, especially Labor Day weekend, where they have them on the Sundays and the Saturdays and the Sundays. I do, especially the replays when the college games are over. I do watch those.
The only one I watched in the last 5 years was a game that Drew Aller played in. I just wanted to see him play.
Medina, yeah.
That's been it. Now, I will watch sometimes on a Friday night. WJC has on one of its satellite stations translators.
Yeah.
Right. I'll watch some of that, especially if it's a local team.
Yeah.
And once in a while, I'll look at a PCN game. And to be honest with you, they do a better job than ESPN does, because ESPN spends the entire broadcast talking about prospects.
Talking about its recruit. Absolutely.
Right? But like all over the country, it's like, just do the game, will you?
And the unfortunate part is that it goes back to not necessarily the betting aspect of sports, but the how large recruiting has become. That's really what the focus has become when it comes to these games. And I give a lot of credit to LeBron James, because he ultimately, I think, propelled the national attention of high school into these broadcasts, which I think he certainly did, not by fault of him, but I think he absolutely helped really get this into form the way it is. But yeah, absolutely. Recruiting has gotten so big at this point. And look, does NIL play a role? Sure it does. But recruiting is where.
I also do think that when they put on LeBron, it was, people are like, who is this phenom? Mm-hmm. Okay, I got that.
Yeah.
But I also think at that point, ESPN was looking for programming.
Sure.
I'm not so sure they're as desperate looking for programming anymore.
No, not anywhere close. No, absolutely not.
In fact, they may drop Major League Baseball, which I think they will.
I think they will too. Yeah, I do. Major League Baseball is going to be interesting here, because it's back to the point I've made probably a dozen times now about the NBA. It's just it hits the target that is so hard to hit anymore, and that's that young audience, the young demographic. Baseball's not doing that right now. It doesn't help that your best player in baseball for the last, I'd say, 10 to 15 years, I think you could argue it was Trout. Now you could probably argue it's Ohtani. Yeah. It's on the West Coast. That doesn't help it. Right. That doesn't help it one bit. But they've got to figure something out at this point, because obviously attendance has hurt to the point that you're basically, as a team, offering a pass for the entire month for fans, which a lot of times you take advantage of. It's a great deal, but I think you're hurting with attendance. I think you're hurting to bring in that new fan. You're hurting to bring in that audience that you once had. They're drifting away and watching basketball. Some of them are drifting away and watching soccer. They're going away from the game of baseball, which is a concern, I think, for Rob Manfred, and I think it's a concern for a lot of people. He
managed it well.
No, he's done terrible.
Yeah,
there's no sugarcoating. He's been awful.
Now, are the rules better? Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Let's give him credit for that.
Yeah.
But they've made so many bad moves under this guy.
A lot of them. And, Bud Selig at times didn't get the credit he deserved. Did he do a terrible job on a lot of stuff? Oh, no doubt. You can't overlook that. But Faye Vincent did too. So I think that's not necessarily.
If they have a Rob Manfred bobblehead day,
would
you get one? As an avid over-the-top collector of bobbleheads.
If it is, if our friends at the Spikes would do it, the answer would be yes, because I think I have every bobblehead from the Spikes, so I'd have to keep the streak going. If it's like the Phillies, no. No, not with the. We're very lucky and fortunate that we have baseball here at Medler Field, and I think a lot of other people around the state and around the East Coast are very fortunate they have baseball right now because they almost didn't because of this guy. So absolutely, he's not been good for the game, in my opinion. It's hard to sugarcoat it. He's done a terrible job in a lot of aspects.
I don't think he has a passion for the sport.
And that doesn't help.
All right.
Absolutely doesn't.
I'm not going to say I know him, but he doesn't act like he has a passion for the sport. He doesn't act. Bart Giamatti loved baseball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So did Ubroth.
Peter Ubroth loved
absolutely.
baseball. I think Faye Vincent loved baseball.
Yeah, I think so too. He's flawed, but I think he did too. Yeah.
Bud Selig absolutely loved
100%.
baseball. Okay, you may disagree with some things he did, but you can't dispute that he loved baseball. I mean, didn't like it, loved it.
I agree.
Was passionate about it. This guy acts like he's a corporate lawyer and
acts like he knows the game when it feels like he doesn't too. I think that's the other part of it. It's like you said. I think the rule changes and the timing where you sped up the game. I think they're good. I agree. I got to give him credit there, but just so much decision making, has been very questionable. And
statements.
Absolutely. And again, it's losing that fan that is so hard to bring in.
Well, you were working on that group, and you told 40 towns across the country to stick it.
Yeah. Because,
I mean, when Joe and I are throwing hot dogs out of the booth.
Yeah. You're throwing them,
Right. Who?
Yeah.
All the little kids that are there with gloves.
And
all
it's the
little kids, and you running and like cutting in front of a kid and taking.
I'll tell you, cutting them off takes time, and
it's just
getting the booze. They're hurtful, but
I mean, God, the three you knocked down the other night. I'm like, what's he doing? I said, geez, you're so desperate. I'll buy you one. What the heck? But we look down. And I'm using that as an example. All these little kids. Well, guess what?
Yeah.
Those little kids grow to be teenagers. Those little kids grow to be adults. And if they end up going to something like this and loving it, they'll watch.
They'll watch. And the best part about minor league baseball, especially at the lower levels, you're going to the game as a family. Number one, it's affordable. Number two, doesn't matter. Obviously on the field it does, but it doesn't matter to in the stands, win or lose.
Sure.
What matters most is the experience that kid's going to come back.
Sure.
And keep coming back.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then you're losing that with what his decision making.
And this guy botched it.
Completely.
He listened to the wrong
people.
Guy.
Absolutely.
He listened to Jeff Luna.
Who did not know it.
From the Astros.
Yep.
We're going to save each team $1 million. $1 million? Yeah. You're a $10.6 billion business. You're going to save $30 million?
Yeah.
Right? That's $30 million of marketing.
Same franchise that named your stadium and went bankrupt.
Marketing.
Yeah. Absolutely.
$30 million in marketing.
Sure.
Unreal.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking about the massive lack of common sense. Now, I don't blame them for saying, hey, look, you need to upgrade your ballparks.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
That's fine. I got it.
And you can even be stern with it. You upgrade your ballparks or else.
Right.
That's fine. But to openly say we're taking you away, it's not the way to go about it.
No. But what's done is done. We move on.
Absolutely.
Are you here next week?
I am. I think you get Kyle at the end of the week, but I'm here to start it off.
Lot to look forward to. Jason, thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.